We're here this week on King Spotlight with Monarch football coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for joining us again today.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, this week Kings hosts Stevenson University Saturday at 1 p.m. at McCarthy Stadium. But before we talk about that game, let's briefly look back at last week's 41-10 loss at Albright. We got off to a slow start in that game, allowed a few big plays defensively that hurt, and on offense we were unable to capitalize on some of the scoring chances that really impacted the result. You've had a chance to look at the game film. What were some of the problems that you saw in the game, but also what were some of the positives that you take away from the game?
First, the problems, from an offensive standpoint, we need to take advantage of some opportunities, especially when, we feel, there's a big play potential there, and when we call a chance to have a big play, in the first play of the game, set the tone, call a big play type thing, a flea flicker, and it was there, and we got to execute. That. If it doesn't, that's a win for the defense, no matter how wide open the guy was. We executed. I mean, that's a 40-plus gain for us. The momentum changes. The morale. It's homecoming, so they're juiced, but it kind of just calms things down in a hurry. Pretty quick. And then, as we become a more veteran team, we need to learn that in that process to be able to, understand when opportunities are there and how important each of them are, and execute at a better level. And then conversely, they made some big plays, and every one was they were throwing the ball up to their big play, fifth-year All-American wide receiver, and we had guys in position, and then they have to make plays, and they were, as a freshman, and then, a senior who's played multiple positions, so he doesn't have the experience that their receiver had, and their kid threw it up for grabs, and, the more experienced guy came down with it. So we're working hard with our kids and, put them in positions in practice to understand that, so we can compete for those footballs and get them. And that was kind of big, the difference. They made plays, and we didn't make plays from there. But the good thing was the kids fought and worked hard. I mean, we created 5 turnovers defensively, and had our opportunities to get some of them, and unfortunately didn't. But we're creating turnovers. That means we're getting guys to the ball, making plays from there. And then offensively, we got into a rhythm there, in the second quarter and in parts of the third, and then we just need to finish. But then our touchdown was kind of what we want. We want to be able to run the ball, get it to the goal line, and then run it in. And then we were able to do that. So there was positives to build on, and basically it's take advantage of opportunities and then compete for jump ball type situations.
Well, moving on to this week's game, Stevenson University is in just their second season of varsity football, but they're not your typical second-year program due to the money the school has invested into football and its facilities. They bought the old Baltimore Ravens practice facility and also constructed an outstanding new stadium. The Mustangs are 1-6 so far, but 3 of those losses are by a touchdown or less. Talk about the Stevenson program and the steps they have taken to become competitive fast. Yeah,
they were. I mean, one, they're what you just mentioned, and 2, where they are in Baltimore, which has a ton of talent, and they've been able to cap into that. They have a lot of Maryland kids and local kids in the area there, and then they built it up where they had a couple of recruiting cycles to get kids in before they started to play the MAC schedule. So they're definitely farther along. You look at their body types of the kids that they have. They have some size and physicality, and then they've been able to get a couple juniors this year on the roster that I think transferred in to kind of play to give them a little bit more experience from there. And then they got a local guy at tailback, and he's leading the MAC right now in rushing, and their line is big, and they're athletic on defense. So they're definitely farther along than usual second-year programs.
Well, Stevenson has put together an excellent running game, and they rank 3rd in the MAC in total rushing yards with 203.5 yards per game. The player that you mentioned is their tailback, K.K. Smith, who does lead the MAC in rushing with an average of 143.2 yards per game. He's short at about 5'9", but he's very stocky at 199 pounds. Talk about what he has accomplished this year and what he brings to the table as a running back.
Watching him, reminds me of the running back we had, when I was at Muhlenberg, who was also a Baltimore kid. He has tremendous vision, from there. He can make people miss, but then at 190-some pounds, he's durable enough that they can run him between the tackles as well as outside. And you watch on film, sometimes guys come unblocked right there, and then he makes a cut, that's unbelievable, and then, no one touches him. He can play tag in the closet and never be it. And he's got that kind of moves and good speed, and it all boils down to he's got great vision, and then they've been running the ball well, and he's got a big front that can move very well. Some of the plays they get some big linemen out in front of him, and knocking people down, creates nice lanes for him to hit.
In terms of passing, Stevenson is ranked next to last in the MAC with 138.3 passing yards per game. Is that statistic a product of the passing game not being as developed as the running game, or is it more because Smith is so talented they just prefer to run the ball as frequently as they do?
Yeah, I think earlier in the year they were playing another guy at quarterback, number 1, and he's definitely, a more accomplished runner. I mean, he can make a lot of plays happen with his feet, and I think now he's doing more wildcat type quarterbacking, and I'm not sure how great, from a thrower, polished as a thrower he was, and that made played a part into from there. Now they've been playing number 11, who's more of a traditional quarterback, and it seems like the last couple of games their passing numbers have been more balanced and improved because of that. So now they become a headache because they have a dual threat quarterback situation. They put one in and he can run it, and he made a lot of runs this season, especially in the Albright game. And then they also have a quarterback now who can elevate their pass play as they have very good good receivers that can make plays and have great speed.
Defensively, Stevenson is ranked 4th in the MAC against the pass, allowing 174.2 yards per game, and are also 8th against the run and allowing 225 yards per game. Talk about their defense and what they attempt to do philosophically.
I mean, they're very sound, fundamental defense. I mean, they're going to make sure they don't give up the big play, with the coverages that they play, and they haven't really given up a lot of big plays in the pass game. They want to keep the ball in front of them and rally and make tackles, from there. And they have very good safety in corners. Their linebackers, are very aggressive, but they're very good at dropping to their spots in the pass game. So they've done a really good job of defending the pass and limiting, teams having big days throwing the football from there. And then, the run game, they've given up some more yards in the run as, young football teams, and, it starts with your lines. And if you're a little bit younger than, some of the more, top teams in the MAC that have older veteran guys, more physical guys there, just a matter of them getting worn down and things and giving up yards, rushing from that standpoint. But they have, good size on their lines, and they play physical, and athletic. So it's a good young defense that plays sound fundamental football.
Coach, there are 3 games left in the regular season, and oddly enough, you won't have to leave the city of Wilkes-Barre to play any of them. We host Stevenson this weekend, then we host Lebanon Valley the following week. And then the week after that, we travel to face crosstown rival Wilkes University, whose field is only about a mile away from our campus. How does it feel to know that you won't have to get on a charter bus for the remainder of the season?
It's really good, and we talked to our kids, about that. Say, hey, we get to finish the season. We don't leave the city, at all. 2 games are at home. It's a great way to, to finish the season, to continue to make strides to get better, and then it's just a matter of, making some more plays, and then you're going to get the wins, that you want. Our seniors have done a great job of building the chemistry, laying the foundation here with the young kids, and it'd be great for them to continue to play better and then get the wins they have. And they have a great opportunity to play Stevenson this weekend. Where I think we're 2 evenly matched teams from there, and then the Lev Val, that's senior day, so it's the last time our seniors are playing on our field, and it's all about them, and it's all of our responsibilities to do the best we can to give our seniors a win on senior day, and then obviously playing for the Mayor's Cup. And we look at it as the Mayor's Cup is our trophy, and that the Mayor is an alum of Kings, and we currently don't possess it. So we'll do everything we can that week to go across the street and try to bring that trophy back home. So our kids are up for the challenge. They're excited about it. They had a great Tuesday night practice last night, and looking forward to Saturday.
Coach, moving on, there's 4 other games in the MAC this week, and 3 of them will have a big impact on the conference standings for the rest of the way of the season. Let's talk about each of the games individually and just share your thoughts on each game. The first game is FDU Florham, which is 1-6 overall, 1-5 in the MAC, playing at Misericordia, first-year program, which is 0-7 and 0-6 in the conference.
That one, I mean, FDU, they had early on had good passing offense and moving the ball well. Haven't seen too much on film what's been happening from there. But it'll be interesting if Misericordia can get their run game and where they've improved, from the running standpoint, and overall from there, because they do some good things in the run game. FDU, if they get their pass game going, that catch and throw, could be the difference in that game.
Then our next game is Lycoming College, which is 5-2 overall, 5-1 in the MAC, playing here in Wilkes-Barre at Wilkes, which is 4-3 and 3-3.
We just see how Lyco, bounces back from that emotional, game with Widener, where it was, a championship, type of a feel. Lyco's, big, and physical, and plays sound fundamental, football. And then Wilkes is on a high. Obviously with a tight, win at the last minute, find a way to win. A close game with Stevenson, last week from there. Be interesting, with Lyco's defense, if Wilkes be able to run the ball and possess the ball against a very stout defense.
Then another big game, we have Delaware Valley, which is 5-2 overall, 5-1 in the MAC, playing at Lebanon Valley, which is 5-2 overall and 4-2 in the MAC.
This is obviously a game that the loser of this game is obviously out. And then if Del Val can win, I mean, then they put themselves looking, they got one more game ahead, but then they put themselves in the showdown with Widener in the rivalry game at the end from there. And again, it's two teams that will slug it out, and no matter maybe who has the most athletes, who makes the most plays, and maybe looking at film a little bit more, Del Val may have a little bit more team speed, and they may have a slight edge to make a few more plays and probably win a very close, tight, physical type football game.
And then our final game is Albright College, which is 5-2 overall, 4-2 in the MAC, playing at first place and nationally ranked Widener. Widener is 7-0 overall, 6-0 in the MAC, and had a big comeback win over Del Val last week.
Offensively, I mean, Widener, they get people fits because they have a very good run game. They're big up front, and then they can throw the ball very, very well. So it'll be interesting to see how well offensively can they stay and hang with Widener's offense. But I mean, when teams win championships, as you go look back, there's defining moments in the seasons that usually lead them to do that. And Widener's kind of crossed those already. I mean, they're almost, I think, dead and buried with Lev Val and found a way to get it to overtime and won. And then they were, I think, down more than one score, with Lyco with not a lot of time, and then they found a way, to win the game there. So they're kind of doing the things that make you think that the chemistry and everything's falling into place for Widener. So you got to give them the edge in this game. But Albright offensively, with their balanced attack, if they can stay around, anything can happen.
Okay, Coach, well, that is all the time we have for this week. Your Monarchs play host to Stevenson University on Saturday at 1 o'clock at McCarthy Stadium. Thank you for your time, and good luck this week to the Monarchs.
Thank you.